You're watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
And no, these two aren't really competitors for each other, although I guess some people might actually cross-shop them.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for the most fun car for the money.
Yeah, but don't think about it like that. What we're trying to do today is explore two unique car cultures to see what makes them tick.
And we do realize that this is the sort of comparison that results in a bloodbath in the comments.
Yeah, so treat today like that time in World War I when the Allies and the Germans got out of the trenches and they played football on Christmas Day before going back to killing each other.
This is the Mustang Bullitt. Would a regular GT Fastback have been a better price match? Probably. But again, the point of today is to really get into the culture of these cars. And a special edition, made famous by the legendary Steve McQueen, is everything I want a Mustang to be. And to be fair, they both have little plaques with a number on them. Now, this Bullitt isn't just a bunch of visual upgrades. It also comes standard with the MagneRide suspension and has more horsepower. But today, forget about the numbers. We are here to share the experience that driving and living with one of these gives you. And spoiler alert, the Bullitt is really fun to drive. It's a genuine hulk of a car. And at least today, we can agree that between these two, it's the prettier choice.
Yes, the Type-R has a polarizing look, but clearly it's desirable enough that many dealers are asking way above MSRP. Quite fitting then that the most viewed thread on the Type-R forums is the naughty list of all the dealers marking them over sticker. Shame! Shame! But shady sales tactics aside, the Type-R is no regular Civic. It is one of the most aggressive and precise four-cylinder cars on sale, with an exterior drama that is matched closely by its interior. But does the driving experience match? And is it as thrilling as that Mustang? We'll have to find out. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so that you see our videos as soon as they come out. Also, if you want to see what we're filming before it goes live on YouTube, follow us on Instagram at The Throttle House.
It's so ridiculously fast. I absolutely love it. All right, there's something about the Mustang that feels so unruly. It feels unrefined and a little bit rough around the edges, in a good way. The whole body moves, there's a really obvious motion to it. It feels big and it feels angry, but it feels intentional.
Okay, Civic Type-R, let's do this. The week I've had this car, I've near as much fallen in love with it. It is so good, and I totally understand why this has the following and the love that it does.
I've got the exhaust in the loudest mode, which is the only mode you need out here. Wakes your neighbors in the morning though, I'll tell you that. Even though it has a quiet morning mode, it's still really loud. All right, so here's what I've noticed. There's only a few scenarios where you can put your foot all the way down in this car. And on a dry, sunny day, that's one of them. Even then, I can feel the rear going like this under full throttle. What an unbelievable engine. So this has 480 horsepower. That's more horsepower than the regular Mustang because it's the Bullitt edition. 5-liter, 8 cylinders. This is the proper orientation for a Mustang. Get the 5-liter V8. This is what makes this vehicle so special.
And not only has it been fun to live with, it's been easy to live with. The clutch is forgiving. It's hard to stall. It has a crazy anti-stall mechanism. The steering is precise, but it's not hard to go in the straight line when you're on the highway. And the thing feels so light. And the thing is light. There's no driving aids in this. There's no blind spot detection, no lane keep assist, no adaptive cruise control. This thing just wants you to have fun in the lightest, sportiest package possible. And if you needed any more proof by Honda that this is just built for fun, it can only come in a 6-speed manual.
So what's the Mustang like to drive? Well, peak torque is at 7,000 RPM. That is a naturally aspirated sentence that I just said. That means that you must run out the gears to get that power out of it, and it is so worth it because it makes a whale of a sound. Even though this isn't the GT350, the engine still feels exotic. It revs really, really high, and it keeps pulling right to the red line. You want to run out the gears in this car, which is a problem because it goes really, really fast at the top of third gear. The shifter is so purposeful. You literally can put your whole arm into shifting a gear, but there's heft to the shifts, and the throws are long, and I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't put a short shifter in this thing.
So what have we got here? We've got a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged engine that pushes 306 horsepower. Can you feel every little bit of that? There's a frantic, high revving nature to this. It feels insane. There's so much energy to it. Not as much as the Civics of old, but it still is so much fun. But the way that they've tuned this car when you accelerate, it puts vibrations through the steering wheel. It feels like a DualShock controller on a PlayStation just vibrating. And it adds that extra bit of like happiness and joy. I imagine it's something to do with very solid engine mounts. It does all go to the front wheels, and there is torque steer as a result. And also, if you really floor it from the line, you will manage to spin the wheels in any temperature that I've experienced this week. In that sense, you might feel the wanting for all-wheel drive. However, if that adds any weight, and I mean any weight to this, then you lose some of the experience. So I don't know how bad it is that it's only front-wheel drive, because the lightness is so good.
The steering is actually really sharp. There's a lot of motion from the front end, and it pushes the front end a little bit in tight corners. It doesn't have the precision that a Type-R would, but since it's naturally aspirated, I can use the throttle to adjust the car in the corner very, very easily. So it's just a sensational driver's car. Couple that with the noise, the driving position, and these Recaro seats, and you have what is the perfect back road blast car and the perfect track car. So this is the Bullitt, which means it comes standard with the Magnetoride suspension, which has magnetic filings in it that can be electronically adjusted to change the stiffness of the damper in milliseconds. So the car stays very flat and controlled in the corners, but then that coupled with actually the very tall sidewall of these tires means the ride is really soft. So you have a car that is very comfortable to cruise in, but then it just turns in and comes alive in the corners.
But Honda's engineering has made it so that the handling in this car, it still handles like a king. There's so much front axle grip in the corners, and the diff in the front means you can stomp it coming out of the corners, and you just feel so confident in this. And I know that you can unwrangle that Mustang pretty easily. You'd have to try really hard to make this feel out of control. I can place this car so precisely on the road. It's compact and it's good. I mean, this car, it feels like it naturally oversteers in the corners despite being front-wheel drive. There's so much fun to the drive in this.
Okay, so this car has different driving modes. Obviously, we've got Sport Plus, Track mode, Normal mode. Sport Plus is awesome for back roads. Track is, the exhaust gets insanely loud, backs off traction control, and all that stuff. You can use it on a back road. Just be careful, because any throttle in the corner in the rear will leave you. However, it does have a drag strip mode, and it has line lock, so you can do easy burnouts to heat the tires. And this digital gauge cluster changes up in each mode. This makes the Mustang feel modern.
There are also multiple personalities. You can drive this in Comfort, Sport, or R mode. And changing those modes changes the throttle response, the steering, the suspension. It gets all a lot sportier. This is riding on 20-inch alloys right now with low-profile tires, and it is a pretty harsh ride, even in comfort mode. You may find yourself apologizing to your passenger a little bit, and I know the tires on that Mustang are thicker than these. So I'm guessing Thomas doesn't have that complaint. Just this turn-in is so tight. The ratio in this is so good. It feels so sporty, unbelievable. You can't help but not. You don't feel like you're in a Civic at all. This is like a Civic after the Rocky montage of protein shakes and egg yolk in the morning, and it's nuts.
I love this thing.
Yeah?
I'm not even a Mustang guy, but I just can't help but understand what they're about.
You don't need to be a Mustang guy.
You don't, it's just...
I heard you come in, this thing sounds
Everyone
unbelievable.
heard me come in, it was awesome.
Hey,
Okay.
This stands on its own.
It really does.
It's incredibly fun.
It's incredibly fast is what it is.
Yeah, that's
right?
very pretty.
It actually is, you know
And
what?
the green looks really good in
So
the sun.
the green looks fantastic, and I love the black wheels with the red brake calipers, and the fact that the wheels don't look so obsessively huge and modern. There's a little bit of a vintage vibe to them, right? I like it.
Well,
Also,
we've lost the badge. Lost the badge here.
And that's a good thing. It's a clean front grille, and I think it looks absolutely lovely.
Except for the license plate.
That's gone.
Which
apparently,
might go.
soon. It might be gone in Ontario.
Yeah.
We're fingers crossed. Okay, so Type-R. Styling.
Okay, so there's a lot. This looks like a lot's been done to it. And in fact, if you go on any car enthusiast forum,
Yeah.
there's a "What did you do to your car today?"
Right.
There isn't actually one for the Type-R
There
because
isn't
it's
one.
done.
It's been done.
Everything's been done.
Literally, what would you add?
That's a joke, by the way. It's a massive, massive thread on that forum.
There is,
Sorry,
yeah.
guys.
Like, what would you do to it? You couldn't add anything. The wheels look
There is actually
fantastic.
one thread about taking the wing off, and then everyone's like, nah. And it looks really weird without the wing, by the way.
It does, and the wing actually does stuff. That
Yeah.
wing provides proper
I think it looks
downforce.
really good. The only thing that upsets me, and we said this when we reviewed it, is these are fake. Like there's too many fake things going on.
There is too many fake things going on. That is a bit.
Honestly, I forgive it. It looks monstrous, and when you drive it, it drives the way it looks. And
Yes, it
that's
does.
why
It
I have no
looks
problem with it.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
right? And that's how it drives. I
Yeah.
agree. Should we do the interiors really quickly?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Mustang first.
Okay.
All right.
Hello.
Okay. First of all, Bullitt, white
Bullitt.
shift knob.
That is really cool.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
I absolutely love the
That's
shift knob.
really
I think
nice.
I think it's really, really good. Okay. Otherwise, it is just a Mustang interior in here.
It's very spacious.
It is very spacious.
These
These are the
seats are-
Recaro seats,
I was going to say they're
and
comfortable.
they're $1,800. They really hold you in.
I like them, and I think they're really comfy.
They see. I have a love-hate relationship with them because when you're absolutely caning it on a back road, they really come in handy. They hold you in.
Yeah.
This thing generates a lot of motion, right? But then a long cruise, your lower back starts to get a little bit stiff. They do have like harness holes though that I'm pretty sure I could use. They're at the
could
right
use?
height for me. Yeah.
There's some soft touch materials. This is all a bit hard here, but
Also, the quality. This is one thing that I've been rinsed by Mustang owners before for saying. When you're in a lot of cars, we're in a lot of cars, you start to notice the difference in qualities of plastics and materials.
Yeah.
This doesn't have the nicest quality materials.
but both these cars have sacrificed like luxury for sport and fun.
And performance, and I appreciate that.
and that's
That's
fine.
what they're for.
Yeah.
That's what they're for. I can't really fault it for that, right? I mean, enough room for a helmet for me, easily. Manual handbrake. Do you have one of those?
No.
You got
I wish I did.
I know. It honestly should have a manual handbrake.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. This is the driving position is good. The steering wheel is really neat. This digital gauge cluster is fantastic. It's so customizable.
It's got Apple CarPlay, right?
It does, and it works fine. Honestly, it's not groundbreaking, but it's pretty straightforward, and it's all there. I mean,
I can't believe how much space I have in here.
yeah, I know. It is.
Although I would have killed the person behind me if someone was sitting behind.
Yeah, no, the back seats they're not really back seats.
Which is like a 2+2.
They're there for show.
Yeah. How's the sound system in here? Because I got 12 speakers in that thing.
Yeah, I have 8 cylinders.
Fair enough.
Civic interior.
Yep. All right.
This is pretty spacious too, actually.
Yes.
Like in front, I have a fair amount of room. It's,
And the back seats are more spacious. Like that.
They're
someone
usable.
Someone could sit behind you right now.
oh, easily. No,
Yeah.
well, in our review of the Civic,
Which is still a Civic.
it's still a Civic.
Yeah.
There's lots of space.
Unlike the seats in those, these are standard. Pretty much everything you see is standard. There's not much to customize about this car. This shift knob is also very cool.
Oh, it is actually.
Yeah, I got wireless charging,
You have wireless
I have
charging.
that.
That's good.
Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and a volume
And
knob.
volume knob now.
Yeah.
Steering wheel's cool. Red accents. Red everywhere. This is red everywhere. It's really neat.
It feels heavily aftermarket in here.
It actually does. It's like a built to be a tuner car.
I wish you could
Very halfway
customize it though, because there's a lot of red.
Saying the Alcantara everywhere is lovely. These seats are so comfortable.
They're-
These
yeah.
seats are better than those seats.
These are weirdly cushy for race seats, and yet
Yeah.
you still feel very supportive.
Because there's a flat bottom and the bolsters go vertically, which is the way that all of these race seats should be, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of space in here. This is good. Actually, more headroom than the Mustang, to be honest.
You want to drive it, don't you?
I do want to drive it. Can I drive it now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's not waste any time. R+ mode. See what she's got. Woo! Oh, it's so insane. It's a totally different experience than the Mustang. It really is. It's like a buzzing bee. Well, the Mustang is more like a. Well, they named it correctly.
This car is insane! It's a weird feeling to grow hair on your chest and do a poop in your pants at the same time.
Yeah, the front end on the Type-R is just so sharp. The steering is perfect. You feel the rear kind of follow the car around a little bit. It's just a really well sorted package. I wouldn't modify one of these cars. I would just drive it as is because it is so good already.
Oh, I'm warm. I'm warm. It's not even warm in here, and I'm now warm. This thing is a riot. And you can lose the back end very, very easily. Oh.
And you know what? I totally understand Having driven both of these back to back, they're so different, but they're so good in their own ways.
I'm not usually one to claim love for a Mustang when I'm talking about cars, but it's impossible to deny. So what do you get with this? You get a car that feels a lot bigger than the Type-R, but it's precise in its own way. You don't feel like you're planting the front corners of the car so much as you are controlling where the driver goes.
The Type-R is this small, sharp, really agile feeling precision tool, and the Mustang, very precise as well, but it's more of a brute. It's like choosing Charmander or Squirtle at the beginning of Pokemon. You're gonna have a great adventure with both. They're just different paths.
This car is more difficult to drive, the clutch is less forgiving, and you can get yourself in more trouble with it if you put your foot down in a corner. So keep that in mind. But then I'm sure it's not easy to fly a dragon, and Daenerys looks like she's having some fun. But like the dragon, if you can harness it and say, Dracarys, it is a fire-breathing, wonderful machine. So there we have it. The Civic Type-R turns you into a boy racer with a grin on your face, whether you're doing a grocery shop run or a highway pull. And the Mustang is the one that's going to make you hug your entire family at the end of the day, because it's just that good. And you almost spun out on that final corner on your way home because you got drunk on the noise of the V8 and didn't account for the oversteer, and the acceleration made you feel like you had the power of 1,000 suns underneath your foot, which coincidentally was all the way to the floor.
Anyway, yeah, so James leans more towards the Civic Type-R, and honestly, for everyday living, I do too. But if I lived in a world where there was no consequences to my choices, I'd take the Mustang any day of the week.